Hello everybody, welcome back to the Divinity Guide. We've got a ton of dialogue with Arhu, so I will let that play and I will join you after it's done.
Sounded worse than a dozen tomcats fighting over the world's last mackerel. But I see we've suffered another orc landing. And judging by the relative ease with which it was dispatched, I can only come to one conclusion. Source hunters have arrived in Sicil. You're as welcome as a glass of cooled milk on a hot day, my friend. I'm Arhu, at your service. It was I who requested your presence in this troubled city. So you were, and so you weren't. Behold, there we are. Meet my other half, hunter. Ha ha! No need to look so flabbergasted. I may be a wizard rife with tricks and guile, but I assure you my plea is an earnest one. So, now that the cat is out of the bag, let us turn to the matter of Councillor Jake's murder. It's hard to put my finger on it, but I can feel in my very whiskers that sorcery was at play. Visit the scene of the crime, and I'd bet sardines for salad you'll say the same. Captain Aureus, though, the local commander of the Legion, insists I'm seeing ghosts. I insist he's blind to all but the undead. Jake was murdered in a downstairs room of the King Crab Inn, up in Sicil proper. The Legion keeps it under lock and key, though, so you'll need Aureus's permission should you want to have a peek. So there are, or rather, there is. Popular opinion has it his wife did the deed, but to be frank, I have my doubts. She seems a likely candidate, to be sure, but that would make her a sorceress. Esmeralda knows how to charm, yes, but I just don't see her magic extend beyond a frolicsome look and wink. Still, don't simply take my word for it, Hunter. It may be well worth your while to cross-examine her yourself. The Legion has her under guard in her shop near the town square. That's where you'll find poor Jake's widow. A human, you say? Truly? But that would be like a kitten leading a wolf pack. And yet, I have heard rumors about a sect of sorts, a shadowy set of worshippers that associate even with orcs. Some say they're sorcerers, but people will say that about anyone who behaves a bit strangely nowadays. I don't quite know what to make of this news, but thank you for informing me. It'd be foolish to dismiss such a curious event out of hand. Ah, the undead. They've been clawing their way out of the ground for 2 years now. And for 2 years the stalemate between them and the living has been dragging on at a weary pace indeed. The Legion did a good job keeping them at bay, but I think it's fair to say that without my magic-infused ballistae, they'd have gotten the better of us by now. Someone is responsible for the outbreak. Necromancers are at work, but who are they and where do they hide? Alas, that searching for them is like searching for a single louse in a lion's mane. Unfortunately, that is absolutely correct. The Orc siege is yet another hairball stuck in this city's already choking throat, and it shows no signs of abating. We've cordoned off the western beach where most Orc activity has been reported. For the 9 lives of me, I can't seem to figure what they're doing here. There's nothing of interest along the waterfront, except for a set of caves with an unfavorable reputation. Maybe they're after some pirate's treasure, the fools. Oh, but that's not a trick. It's a blessing. Or does it surprise you that I enjoy taking a feline guise? Such magic is a gift, Hunter. To tread upon the realm of instinct. Even articulate speech, perhaps humanity's greatest asset, cannot give expression to something so inextricably innate. To be out in the night, to stalk on silent paws and hunt with only the moon as your witness. You couldn't possibly imagine the thrill. But of course, it's handy to speak in more than meows. And I couldn't brew potions or make machines without opposable thumbs. This I freely admit. Let's just say I have found a way to enjoy the best of two worlds. I'm glad we've met, Source Hunter. And I'm certain we have a lot more to talk about. Feel free to visit me whenever you want. I've set up a workshop in the Legion's headquarters. Once you're there, just take the stairs, but do pay a visit to Aureus first. He may bark like a beagle with its tail stuck in the door, but you won't get very far in your investigation without speaking to the de facto leader of Sicil. And with that, I bid you adieu, Hunter. Adieu and good luck. May your enemies prove to be mere mice, and you the dauntless mouser.
Sex, undead, orcs. Looks like we have our work cut out for us. At least we won't be bored. How about we go see that Aureus chap Arhu mentioned?
Okay, so, boy, it sounds like Sicil's got some pretty major problems. So if you haven't already extinguished the boat that's on fire, it's up here and to the left. I already took care of that, but like I said, if you haven't already done that, I would recommend going and doing that right away, and then just use the scroll that that you got from the. I guess it was actually kind of on the ground near the guy that jumped off the cliff. Problem is, if you don't take care of that now. The ship will eventually completely burn down, and you'll lose out on the reputation that you would normally get if you had done that. So, again, make sure you take care of that as soon as possible. Okay, so the citizens here pretty much all say the same thing. You can talk to them about the burning ship. A couple of them sound a little bit different, but their dialogue is essentially the same. So I don't know if they had a different voice actor act out some of these. But so I would say, you know, as with everywhere, this is actually, I think, the first place where you can steal. So if you open up a search and if you notice the name of an item is in red, that will be that just designates that you'll have to steal it in order to obtain it. So what that's going to do is a lot like Baldur's Gate, where if you steal in front of people, it'll you know, affect the way they see you. And I think in this one, that's going to affect, you know, specifically like your the prices of items that you buy or sell from an NPC. So in most cases it doesn't really matter, like the regular citizens that are just walking around. That doesn't matter so much. But here I wanted to talk a little bit about the actual stats. So here we've got strength that so determines your you know, damage with like physical based melee weapons and some man-at-arms skills. Dexterity is more like for your rogues and your archers, so it's going to you know, increase the damage that you deal with those skills and like the scoundrel skills and stuff like that. Intelligence, obviously, for your casters, more based on I guess it increases the damage of skills from the like Etherthurge or something like that. I think I'm saying that right. Well, actually, probably not, but apologize for that. But most of the magic-based trees, I guess I would say. Constitution affects your health as well as your maximum AP. You can actually see there right now I've got 13 action points. And then the +7 in parentheses, I think that's how much you start out with when battle starts. So hopefully I've got that correct. Speed will increase the amount of action points that you get per turn, as well as increases like your movement and whatnot. There's a couple of different things that speed actually increases. And then here I'm just showing you the. You can actually see how your stats change when you put points into these. So unfortunately with speed, I think it takes 2 points in speed to increase your the action points that you get per round by 1. So it's still a really, really good stat to have. The amount of actions that you take per turn is huge. I mean, maybe that's obvious, but you know, if you've got, you know, a character that really can't do much per round of combat, they're going to end up taking a bunch of damage and not really doing much. So yeah, I guess just keep that in mind. And then perception affects your critical rate as well as some other things like how far you can see. I think. I don't remember exactly all the different things that perception actually affects. It's a few things though. And again, like I actually really like the increased crit rate. So I will probably put some points into that at some point. And then here I've got both of my characters dual wielding wands right now, and the amount of AP that it costs to actually attack is affected by what your dual wielding skill is at, as well as you know, your action points. So the more points you put into dual wielding, the less action points that it'll actually cost when you are dual wielding. So keep that in mind. If you're not dual wielding, don't bother with that stat, obviously. And then, like all of the, I would say just like everything in this game, if you have questions on the specifics, always like tap the Y button. It will, you know, give you information on exactly what those stats do. Because, you know, things like the witchcraft? I think that's the name of it. I think that's right, witchcraft. So the more points that you have in that, the more actual abilities that you'll be able to take from, or like the more spells, I guess that you could say, that you can actually learn from the witchcraft, like I guess tree or group, maybe I should say. And then there's like different tiers of spells as well. There's like tier 2, or I forget what they call it. It's like apprentice, and then I forget, in like, I don't know, intermediate. That's probably not right. And then I think there's like master spells. So keep in mind that you know, the higher those skills, or the more points you put into those skills, the better off you're going to be, or the better spells that you'll be able to cast and whatnot. And then on top of that, when you put 1 point in, so like say you're at 0 and you put 1, or you want to go up to 1, it's only going to take 1 point. Whereas if you want to increase from 1 to 2, it's going to take 2 points, and so on and so forth. So the earlier levels, you know, you can you know, put a couple of points here and there, but as you go, it's going to get more difficult, or it's going to take more points to get kind of what you want. So I would say, I mean, I don't know that I've ever really made a character that was like a jack of all trades, like, you know, 1 point here, 1 point there. I generally like to focus, and I think that's a good idea. I don't know that you necessarily want to have your points spread out among all kinds of different stuff. I don't think that's going to be a great idea. But here, so we started a quest there with the three sailors are looking for work. Apparently, the orcs sunk their ship, so they're out of work for the time being. So we'll need to find a ship for them to sail on.
Madness. Thought we were done with those swampy uglies a fortnight ago.
Okay, so this guy is a sailor that looks like he works for the Tide Splitter. That's important to know. There'll be another quest that we'll have to come back here for later. So just remember that this is where the Tide Splitter is at. Let's check it or take a look here at get some cash. I always you know, open up all the different things that I come across.
Ahoy, sailor! Are you enjoying the fresh winds of Sicile? Name's Conrad, cargo trader, sea captain, an expert in all things nautical. Folks across Andervale know to give old Conrad a holler when it comes to rare imports and magical items. Those orcs must be out of their barbarous minds launching an attack on a city where a great wizard resides. Though even I must admit they put up a hearty effort. I'll tell you, the only time I'd consider waging a suicide campaign like that would be if whatever I sought was something worth dying over.
out of your gore anymore.
Sauce? That man. Speaking of you.
Okay, so Conrad there, I think that's that guy's name, is the captain. I think that was the captain anyway of the Tide Splitter. Again, that'll be useful later. You'll need to have a little chat with him. And then there was a treasure chest up there and to the left. Yeah, you can see it. There's a rope that's kind of blocking the way, and there's more than one way, I think, that you can get a hold of that chest. I know for sure one of them is to use telekinesis, so keep that in mind, but we don't have access, or I don't have access to that quite yet, so I'll come back later.
2 feet approaching me, and here you are. My powers astound even me. I'm Bull, the leading clairvoyant in Seal. The 2 feet never bother to ask, but I see all that is and is to be. Of course, most winsome 2 feet. Of course. Why, yes, most wealthy indeed. But you must be vigilant, 2 feet, for I see that your wealth will come by bloody means. Well, that depends, 2 feet. That depends. I see that love has caused you to falter in the past. Yes, falter dearly. You must reconcile your mistakes before you will find true love. Death. Ever the most difficult topic to foretell. I see, oh dear. No, no, your reading is over, dear, over.
A source hunter?
Well, tuck my tail and call me Bessie. A 2 feet addressing me directly? Huh, I thought I'd never see the day. Don't know what you said to upset Bull, but don't worry about it too much. Being in tune with the flow of time takes a lot out of him. Oh, me and my brother Bull have dragged this here car all
Okay, so that was Bull and Bill. I don't know. They don't really have all that useful of information, but it's kind of neat. If you've got the pet pal trait, you can speak with animals. Now, I'm gonna head in here to the warehouse. I'm not gonna really do much. I'm just gonna chat with these guys, and then I think all of these, yeah, all this stuff in here. If you try to take it, it's stealing. So there is a way to, or if you want to, you can get a hold of it, but it involves like chatting with guys and kind of like blocking off their line of sight and stuff. But I'm not gonna do that quite yet.
Proud protector of this house of Legion goods. Courteous is my name. The Legion is my calling. This is a storing house for Legion supplies. Perhaps the most important building in the realm, by my and others' estimation. And I, Sergeant Courteous, have been trusted to guard it.
Well, a source hunter. A very hearty welcome to our humble warehouse. Have a look around. And don't mind if I pick your brain about the scoop around Undervale. I'm behind on my current affairs. I tell you, this gig sure beats getting my toes bitten off by zombies out in the field. We warehouse guards don't have to do much apart from stroll the perimeter a few times an hour. And of course, every now and again, some friendly folks, like yourself, will wander through here. And nothing beats a pleasant conversation, though my comrade Horatius has quite different opinions on that matter. Have you talked to him? Thinks every man, woman and child who steps foot in this place wants to rob it blind. If I so much as greet a townsperson with a hello instead of a state your purpose, he starts frothing on and on about guardly duty and security breaches. This Jake business is quite the scandal, no? I myself suspect his wife Esmeralda, and the butcher seconds that, let me tell you. Then again, and you didn't hear this from me, he's going through quite the nasty divorce himself, and there's his children to consider. But I imagine his youngest, Kimberly, won't mind. Never did get on well with her mother ever since the incident. Oh, it's an unparalleled pleasure having a fresh ear around here.
Keep your pleasantries to yourself. What are you doing inside this warehouse, snooping around? If it's conversation you're looking for, I'd recommend my comrade Florius, or as I prefer to call him, Loose Lips McGee. As for myself, my job is to protect this warehouse, not chit-chat with intruders. That idiot man-child would sooner spend an hour chatting up a thief than a minute arresting him. I only hope he gets transferred out of this warehouse and straight to the perimeter. Let him rot off as zombies. Even thinking of him turns one into a gabbing hen. Please, leave me be.
There just aren't any thieves around.
Loose Lips McGee. I love the humor in this game. They did such a great job. Like whoever, or the writers for this game just did a fantastic job. So there's not a whole lot to talk about with these guys for the time being. There's the one guy is guarding the door there, and we'll come back here later after we get some. I think maybe you might be able to get in there right now, but I don't remember what you have to do to get there. And then here I'm gonna save because you can make a choice here on what to do about this charmed orc. But I'm gonna actually, I think I'll come back here later, I think, and decide what I'm gonna do with these guys.
Of a friend here that orcs are predators, not pets.
Enough of that. I know how dangerous an orc can be, but this one has been reformed. Anyone can see that she's completely docile, but my prejudiced friend here still wants to kill her.
Maybe before the great orc raid we had time to indulge Ninius's idiotic obsessions. But now we're needed at our posts. I can hardly believe I've been wasting time protecting an orc when I should be running them through.
Excuse my friend's violent outbursts. He hasn't enjoyed a woman's touch in quite some time now. It makes him a bit edgy.
Your woman's touch is less of a loving caress and more of a claw shanked brutally through the throat. I'll take my chances as a bachelor, thanks.
My friend here and I were patrolling outside the city walls, when who did I see creeping along the shore but this lovely orcish lady. For a brief second, as long as eternity, we locked eyes. Perhaps confused by the butterflies in her stomach, she sprang up and began running, claws bared towards Marius. Fortunately for him, I had the presence of mind to ignore my sword and instead adroitly fling my pouch of trinkets towards her. A vial of love potion shattered over her head, and when she turned to face me, she became instantly enamored. I'm sure she must have been compelled to join the Orcish army under some kind of duress. A lady with such a sweetly savage manner would never willingly join up with those vicious marauders.
Ha! I can assure you there wasn't a hint of sweetness in those murderous eyes when she lunged at my throat. She may be confined here for now, but who's telling when she'll escape and who she'll rip to shreds?
I've always had an amateur interest in all things alchemical. When I read in an esteemed periodical from the Wizards of Youthful Gore about an amazing opportunity that could change my life, I had to act fast or lose the once-in-a-lifetime deal. I sent away for the world-famous love potion, available for a limited time only, and it has worked exactly as promised.
You see what a fool my friend has been, spending all his cash on snake oil and bringing a temporarily tranquilized monster into our midst to boot.
What kind of monster would lie in a published advertisement? I'm sure the effects of the potion will be everlasting, as printed.
Avert your gaze, and I'll handle this threat for all our sakes.
She wouldn't hurt a fly, and I won't let you hurt a horn on her head.
Bringing your little orcish girlfriend here is like bringing a wolf to a hen house.
Nonsense. Listen. She's purring. the darling.
What fool would trust a two-bit love potion out of a back-page circular from youthful Gore? Hello again. As you can see, I'm still trying to convince this fool that a doped-up orc is not a pet. You see, he'd believe it was noon at midnight if he read it on a printed pamphlet. Please tell me you can reason with him, or ditch reason and use your sword to shave him from his murderous darling.
She's got to be put down. If this love potion is as dodgy as it sounds, she could come to her vicious senses at any time. Agreed. I've never met an orc I trusted, charmed or not.
Glad to hear I'm not the only one with common sense around here. I'll do the honors myself.
No! She's harmless!
Okay,
Please!
so this quest is called Charmed, I'm sure, and now we can do a couple of different things in order to close the quest out. Now, if you decide to kill the orc, you get the pragmatic trait, or +1 to pragmatic, and then romantic, or you can choose to let the orc live, and then you'll get a point in romantic. I think that's what I will end up going with. There is a third way, kind of interesting way to finish it out, which I'm not going to do, but if your first character chooses to let the orc live, and the second, with your second character, you decide not to, but then the first agrees to do as the second one says, the first character gets +1 to obedient, while the second character gets +1 to pragmatic. So there are, again, multiple different ways, and I haven't tested any other ways, like if, say, your first character chooses to kill the orc, and then the second one protests, like, and disagrees. So you can play around with it, but again, I'm gonna actually just go with. I think I go with the romantic option because I want to get. I like to keep the lucky charm trait, or is that technically like an ability? I forget how they're divvied up now, but yeah. But sorry, pragmatic, romantic are the traits, and then lucky charm will be like, it's actually kind of like a passive. You can put points into it, but I generally don't do that. Anyways, I think that's about it for this video. We're going to head all the way up. I'm actually going to just skip through a bunch of town for the time being because there just isn't a whole lot to do. I could run around and like grab the fish off the racks and like sell them to a vendor, but I'm just not going to bother right now. We'll come back and do that. Probably, I don't know if I'll do that off screen or not, but I think a lot of the game for me is going to be doing stuff like that. So I'll probably try to cut out a lot of the, like, I'd call it busy work. So you won't have to just watch me, go invisible and steal a bunch of stuff and fail and have to stand around for a while. So again, I'm going to try to cut that kind of stuff out. And I believe actually here I'm going to head up to right outside the, I think this is the inn, and I'm going to save my game there, and we'll pick it up right where, I guess right there. So, as always, I hope this guide was helpful, and I hope you join me for more videos. Thanks for watching.